Today I met with the Chair of the RTE Board, Siún Rahley, and Director General Kevin Backhurst. I expressed my concern and frustration at how the ongoing controversy in relation to exit packages is undermining the good work that the Chair and DG are undertaking to reform RTE and rebuild trust in our national broadcaster. The DG confirmed to me that he has sought further legal advice as to the levels of disclosure which can be made. Whilst I am conscious of the need to respect legal advice as well as individual employment and privacy rights, I reminded the DG of the important public interest at play, which must also be a factor in considering this matter. I also asked that he consider all possible options to bring further clarity and transparency to these matters. The DG advised me that he expects updated legal advice in the coming days, and he has committed to making as much information as possible publicly available at the earliest opportunity. I also impressed on the Chair and the DG that in the context of any possible future severance arrangements, confidentiality agreements should be avoided if at all possible, and that a cap on the levels of settlements made should be introduced. The DG committed to fully examine these proposals. This is a critical juncture for RTE, and developing a new culture of openness and fairness is essential if trust in the national broadcaster is to be restored.
Thank you. Minister, were the RTE representatives today able to explain to you why there was a non-disclosure element in the package of Richard Collins?
So I have spoken to the DG on this issue, on the why and the how, and whilst he awaits the legal advice, I have asked him to speak to this himself, and he is committed to doing that this evening. I think he's in the best place as the DG, again conscious of not, for me as Minister, not straying into the operational matters, but I believe light needs to be shed on this. So he's taking some further advice this evening, and then we'll speak to that himself, because I think it's important that that is clarified. He has to get the legal advice on that. I have some understanding of it, of course, but I don't want to speak to it. I think it's best placed if the DG himself speaks to it because of the legalities of it all.
Minister, can I ask for this?
I think Kevin is the best person to be as DG in RTE. I think he has implemented substantial reform and has a body of work to do now on the strategic vision and following through on the reform needed. I think we have to remember that at that time when he came in, there was an unprecedented crisis emerging in RTE. The pace was hectic, and he had to make decisions, and I have to respect that, on what he wanted the most effective team that he saw fit in place, and he made decisions at that time. I have raised, though, on foot of that, my concern about the lack of transparency around those issues, and that's why I've asked for as much clarity as possible to explore all possible options to shed light on that, because I think transparency is key in the rebuilding of trust. That is the advice that he is seeking now. So it's for the same reasons, the legal constraints, that he can't speak publicly. He can't reveal that to me because he has to get the legal advice, because that would be a breach of that confidentiality agreement. And that is why I am seeking in future, and he's given that commitment, to look at the use of confidentiality agreements and to look at capping any such agreements, because my focus is on the forward-looking piece too. Well, I think it should certainly be the exception and not the norm, and that's what I said to the DG today, and he's committed to looking at that, and it's not for me to state a number now. I'm not going to do that, but I just want him to look at it so we don't see extraordinary figures. I think that's, there's the public interest, there's a public trust here, that RTE is our public service broadcaster, so if we are helping to fund RTE, and it's very unhelpful in the context of the discussions that are ongoing in relation to the future funding model, that we must see the transparency there, and definitely I think a cap on those on the higher level.